To get started. I'm so excited to have everybody here. Welcome to the XR Pub Crawl. I am Lisa Payton, and I am accompanied by my partner in crime, Billie Goldman. So excited to have our very special guest, PJ Pereira, here to school us on everything AI. He has an amazing perspective, and I can't wait for him to share that with you. And welcome everybody that's coming in. So why don't we give folks another minute? We can continue. Hi, Ricky. Hi, Pedro. We got some. Hi, Johnny Hartman. I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you?
I'm well. I was doing a little meow wolfing recently with some AI stuff, so we can talk a little later on that. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of ooga booga, and if anybody's been huggy facing lately, but. That's probably just the dev folks in the room.
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
So the big language models, there's
I feel like I should know.
Starting to build around that huggy face. Anyways, how are you guys?
We definitely have techies. We've got some techies with us today, Johnny. You're not alone. And I straddle the line. I pretend like I'm a techie. I try to be one. Well, let's kick it off. Yeah, let's kick off. We've got a full agenda today, and people will come in, I'm sure, as we go. So let's start. And today, the theme of today is AI. It's our AI edition of the pub crawl, and we'll, I'm sure, do many more AI themed editions as we go. We're going to talk about some items that I teased out of the news, and of course, people are willing, please pipe in if you have other news to share. We've got our, I'm calling it, it's more than a vendor spotlight. We've got PJ here who's going to talk to us about his perspective, and I'll let him chat more with you on that. And then we're going to hands-on Midjourney, and I can't wait. So quickly, though, we do have an announcement. So we talked about this last time, and I'll talk about it again. Billie and I are curating a marketing comms focused experience at Augmented World Expo this year. I'm really excited about it. The experience includes a complimentary pass, invite to some VIP networking, a dinner, and all of this through the lens of marketing and communications, and how enterprises and other businesses are using immersive technology to engage audiences. So I'm super excited about this. I'm super excited to offer it to the XR pub crawlers. So, and Ricky, I know Ricky's here, and I know Ricky's joining us. We got some that are joining. So if you're interested, there is a very kind of, I'd say, a down and dirty application process. Billie, do you want to share more? I'll put the link in chat in case you want to.
Yeah, so guys, just know that this is really for newcomers to AWE. So those that have been there before, unfortunately, we can get you maybe a 20% discount. But for people that have never been to AWE before, we can get you this free pass. And I'm excited because, we're going to really curate the experience for you. Really talk to vendors that are actually ready for implementation and really doing some sexy stuff. We're going to have a dinner together. There's a few things, spend time with Lisa and I. It should be a good time. I hope you all join us.
Yeah, we have a blast. We've gone, many years now, and every time I leave feeling really inspired, and like we're gonna, solve the problems of the world, basically is how I feel at the end of it. So it's great. Okay, I also want to just quickly talk about our next pub crawl that we have. And we, as you all know, we meet the fourth Friday of every month. So May 26th is our next one. We will be featuring Buoy. And we'll also be having our AWE sneak peek. So this May 26th is the Friday right before AWE. So we'll be talking about kind of what our plans are. We'll be teasing some of our plans for that week. And then Billie, do you want to speak to Buoy and why we selected them as our vendor?
Sure. So Lisa and I are paying very close attention to all those agencies out there that are doing any XR work that's really inspirational. And Buoy, it just fits right in. They are world class. They're working with some amazing brands. We scheduled them for May because they have a bunch of things that they're doing, March and April, where they were launching some exciting stuff so that it would be public for us to play in. And so I'm excited to have them come in. They are incredibly inspirational for those that are interested and really want to see what's performing well in the XR space. And so please join us next month because it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Billie. Okay, I do have a question. So, question of the month, everybody, because if you could share, I wanted to kind of take and leverage everyone's expertise that's here in the room with us, because I know you got some smarties. But if you could drop in chat the AI, your favorite AI tools that you're currently using, I'd love it. And as we know, AI really just spans the entire breadth of what we're doing in our profession. So if you've got good tools that you love, please share them in chat, and then I'd be happy to share them out with the group afterwards. I've been thinking a lot about this as I'm teaching an AI for Marcom kind of week in my XR class that I'm teaching at UO. And it's like almost every tool that I use has some AI component in it today. It's really kind of amazing. So I was like, fuck, that's a tool and that's a tool. And oh yeah, and then there's that one and there's that one and there's that one, whether it's for research or, market insights or content creation or copy tweaking or search engine optimization or it's just crazy, and it's just getting to be more and more of them. So cutting through some of the not so great tools to find the good ones is becoming a challenge. Anyway, drop it in chat. I'd love it.
We're getting some good ones here.
Yay!
Midjourney, obviously, we talked about AutoGPT, Runway, ML.
I can't wait. Thanks, everybody.
Can't wait to check these out.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming. This is like awesome. This is like helping me so much with my class, and basically some cheating. You guys, I'll give you attribution for finding these for me as I'm trying to pull these into my teaching.
I just want to say that one of the links I left, this is a whole directory that continues to grow each week, futurepedia.io.
Oh, I love
Every
that.
category, and it keeps curating and curating and curating. So futurepedia.io, giant directory, new tools almost every day, every week, rated, comments, everything from free to freemium to premium to subscription. It has been, I get lost in there for hours each week. It's just incredible resource.
Thanks, Victor. Thank you.
Wowee. That's going to be exciting to check out.
Yes, we all need these to be curated for us, don't we, Billy? Curate is the key word.
It is. There's just too much data coming
there's
at
too
us.
Much.
Too much happening. I mean, that's really it. Okay, let's talk about the news, because there's a lot happening.
I know. So we've got just some quick hit news, and then I'm going to hand it over to our special guest, PJ. But you might be asking, and Billy asked a very good question today, like, well, why are we talking about AI in the XR pub crawl? And there's a really good article. I have the link here, and I can put it out in the show notes as well, on Ad Age that quotes Roblox. And I have said from day one, I think Roblox has really been smart about how they've grown their community. And the quote here is that, is AI a metaverse technology? And the answer from the person who's in charge of these new AI tools on Roblox says yes. That in a sense that, one of the key challenges of the metaverse is that it requires an enormous amount of content, and the content gap has always been one of the blockers to adoption. But now with generative AI, everybody with an idea can create not just one object, but a whole world. And Roblox are creating these tools where you can create cars like that, kind of, without having any coding skills required. So it's really sexy what they're doing. Their goal is to democratize content creation, which is, I think, super smart. And I'm excited to get into Roblox and start playing with these tools that they're building. It's really exciting and really sexy. Who's played with these tools?
Anyone? I'm kind of curious.
I'm super curious. Yeah, I think they're brand spanking new.
Look at that car. I mean, my God.
We're doing more on the Fortnite side, but we have played a bit with the Roblox stuff. Where we're really seeing things is like what GitHub has done, and where basically AI is being put back in with the development stack and how that's being used. So I have to say, the last 4 times I went to code something, I had chat, I've had a bot or other things like AutoGPT as well, is something we're really looking at, because it's how you frame goals and objectives, and then it goes and does it for you and comes back and brings you results. So there's this kind of next generation of service layer AI that's helping as a specific focused goal-based agenda, as well as the character AI pieces. That's huge in our world.
Yeah, love it.
Teaching them more about themselves and having the avatar evolve.
One thing for Billy and Lisa, have you guys spoken with Paul Reynolds? He do you guys know him? He's I'll connect you. He's high up in Roblox and doing the AI stuff. So I'll make that happen.
Chat with him. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
love
Thank
it.
you, sir. That would be great.
Another headline here, Disney's pull out of the metaverse. I'm curious to see if anybody's heard about that, cares about that. Thoughts?
They're still doing metaverse stuff. They're just not doing it internally. Like, they're just going to pay somebody else to do it first until they're able to do it internally. Like they have more IP for this stuff than anybody else.
Yeah, this makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like
Which
we're not going
is
to do it
great
ourselves.
news.
We'll let others people.
Yeah, it's great news for little XR companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they had such a huge presence in AltSpace VR. I don't know how many of you visited the Magic Kingdom in AltSpace, but it was really impressive. I took my students in there, I guess it was last year, and it blew their minds. Like it was mind blowing in the headset, seeing the castle. And it was like a hugely developed experience that they had in there with like tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of content. So I'm curious to see kind of how this plays out.
What a blow it must have been to them to have AltSpace closed down. I mean, what a blow.
Well, that, that's a whole nother discussion, what Microsoft's going to do with that, who knows. But
and it's not transferable. They can't take it to a different metaverse, I mean, that's pretty sad.
The end gist of this article though, is, from our friends over at Media Monks. She basically just astutely says that it's it's not, because the metaverse isn't going anywhere, and it definitely is growing, and not to necessarily heed this as it tanking and all of that, the doom and gloom that we tend to sometimes get into. So ultimately the article ended on a positive note. This, the CEO's Guide to the Metaverse. I wanted to share this. Our friend Dave Ackerman, is Dave here today? He comes normally. Shared this with me. This is an awesome resource. I'll drop the link in. It's from McKinsey, and there was some very interesting research. Not sure if everyone has seen this or not, but I thought I would tease out just a few of the nuggets here from this resource that Dave shared. And this piece I thought was really fascinating, this chart. So according to McKinsey and their research, they're estimating $4 to $5 trillion opportunity. And then more interestingly, and the report goes into more depth on this, they outline what they see as low, medium, and high use case potential, which I thought was very fascinating. Citing e-com super, and we're seeing lots of movement with e-com here with consumers. And then in terms of enterprise, they're citing high potential with banking, discrete manufacturing, media, process manufacturing, professional services, retail, and telecommunications. And the report goes further to give out their two most favorite examples where I think they see a lot of the growth happening is brand marketing and consumer engagement. They, talk about Nike and how they've apparently sold over $185 million worth of NFTs for digital sneakers.
Wow.
That's insane.
Insane.
That's crazy. And then they gave Starbucks as another great example of a brand that's kind of doing this right with their customer loyalty program. And then on the enterprise B2B side, they're talking about digital twins and this digital twin technology and all of the upside there. And I don't think that's a huge surprise. So the report was really great and did a lot of predicting and very worthwhile. It's not a huge bulky asset. It's well written and quite valuable, I thought. And then finally, that brings us to my last bit of news as we start thinking here about segueing over to PJ. I wanted to share this. PJ, I have to say, I thought it was brilliant, the way that you built this kind of, I would say, this model around how to deal with AI anxiety. I loved this post. And I'm just going to, I'll let PJ speak to this, and I don't want to, but PJ has been writing a lot of amazing blog posts on AI, everyone. And so I'll put the link. I highly recommend, this is just one of his posts. He really is a visionary and has been working in this field for a very long time. So But this post particularly, I really liked it because so the model that he created is the different levels of impact, the individual, the company, society, and humanity. And on the individual level, the arrival of AI will change every profession. It will force people to learn new skills and new ways of doing things, but it will also allow us to do more, to do way more than we currently can. And if you can't wait to be able to amplify your ability to do things, grab your board and surf. But if you're too tired to learn your thing again, run to the mountains. And I love it. And it's like, I don't know, like I've got the little kid in me that's like ready to dive in. And then I've got this like jaded marketer that's like, I can't wait to get the hell out. So like, where do I land? I don't. I'm kind of caught. But I think without any further ado, then let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to PJ. And PJ, go ahead and take it away to introduce yourself. Yeah, and let's go for it. Or Billie, why don't you talk? Do you want to talk? Billie is very close to PJ. Let Billie say a few words. Yeah,
I've worked with PJ since like 2011. He is the one that I worked with on social film and how we won all those awards. He is just brilliant. He's a novelist. He's staying on top of artificial intelligence, and in his novels, he's writing about it. And if I want to do anything related to AI and marketing, he will be the first person that I call. He is just so brilliant in this space. So PJ, please, introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. He's taking away.
Thank you, Billie. So let me share see if I can share. Can I share my screen from here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll introduce myself first and then I'll share. So I started my career as a programmer back in Rio when I was 12, 13 years old, kind of got a job, somehow convinced company that I could do it, got a job there, did it for like 10 years, and then decided that I want to try something else, went to work in advertising, really found myself great. On the side, I started to write my novels, published a few ones in Brazil, and about 9 years ago, started to write one here, my first novel in English that is going to get out. It's going to come out in October. Happens that along this entire time, and I'll explain why I'm going through all these processes as well, is that I have always done martial arts as well. And at some point, for one of those very weird reasons that I can't explain how it happened, but I landed on a story that I felt that got me really excited. It was kind of like Kung Fu and artificial intelligence. That are very unlikely combination of things. If like I want to write the story, kind of got some connection of it, started to write about it, started to do a lot of research. I always like to go deep with the research that I'm on the subject that I'm doing. So I started to study AI more and more and more. And it was, it's a rabbit hole. The more you study, the deeper you get, the more you feel like there is more to dig, and started to talk to specialists. I talked to psychologists, talked to ethicists, philosophers, with programmers, biologists, people in all fields that have been working with it in all big universities around the world, talked to neuroscientists to understand what is the overlap between neuroscience and AI, and went super deep into the rabbit hole. And the reason I'm saying this is because when Lisa and Billie invited me to talk about this, like I'm not the best person to talk about any particular tool, although we can play with Midjourney a little bit, because as a creative person, I have some tips that you can steal. But I think that because of this combination of being a creative professional in the advertising business that has also been writing a novel, a sci-fi novel with AI characters, and all the conversations that came from it, I think I developed some perspective that may help on both what is creativity and the creative work in this world that is coming, and also the multiple layers, the philosophical layers on this kind of the discussion. Not that I have any final perspective, but I have discussed with so many people that I think there may be some metaphors and some perspective and some mental models that may help. And if that's what I want to bring, more like a philosophical conversation on AI, especially from a creative standpoint. Then this is technically the tool. You probably there are people here that know technically way more than me. So let's focus on the philosophical side here. I'm going to share my screen right now. Can you see it? It's time to play. And I think that I wanted to start here because all the images you're going to see, except for one, by the way, all the images were done by AI, mostly Midjourney, including these one here. But the reason I want to I know it's time to play is because there's a combination of things here that matter. One is that AI is such a big transformative power that is good that is good if the world tries it in low stakes and smaller scale projects before they do implement really big things. So I feel like playing is a better strategy for us from a society standpoint than just going, let's build the big things, because we don't know exactly the consequences and how these things are going. So there's one side of that. The other side is that the mindset of going there because we don't know exactly what it can do for us, and we're going to get more deeper into this, and we don't know, and the technology is evolving so fast. Playing is a much better mindset than trying to go there to make money and implement big things, because it's not stable enough, even on the possibilities. The possibilities are growing, evolving so fast that by the time that you finish a project, you finish what you're trying to do, it's already so old. And I actually have tried to implement a few things. So by the time that I finished, it was too old. It was a waste of time. So getting there with it to play feels right now is like a better mindset to explore than trying to find the way to do the big things, the big projects. Everyone doing that. Even the big projects are still a playground for someone that is much bigger. So what is play for me may be much smaller than what play is for Disney, as you're talking about Disney. But everyone is kind of there playing. If you're trying to take something really seriously, it's a risk that is too high in my opinion. But anyway, we're gonna get more into specifically this play thing here. But let's start with this image of this caveman looking at the fire. So imagine, let's go back in time. Imagine the first caveman looking at the fire, the first fire pit, the first time that this dude here felt like, oh, I think this threatening, crazy being that eats the forest around me and kills my family, I found a way to control it. I found a way, and I think I can use it for me. So imagine that person right there, that little caveman that just found a way to conquer fire. Can you imagine having having a conversation with him if he actually had a complete control of language as well? But if having a conversation with that dude, say, hey, you know that in a few years we're going to be able to, once you realize you can take the fish that you catch, you can actually cook it, and you can prepare the fish in thousands of different ways, and every part of the world is going to cook it differently. It's going to be incredible. Do you know that at some point you're going to take those little beans from those plants and you're going to roast them on fire, and we're going to put through water and pressure, and you're going to create this incredible thing that is coffee? Can you imagine trying to explain what chocolate is for that caveman? I mean, chocolate and fire are not that separate, but there's an evolution of an indirect evolution, step by step, that went from one to another. But now let's keep growing. So imagine trying to explain to that caveman that from that hot thing that he was doing. It's going to be a development that is going to lead to another development, and suddenly you're going to be able to make cold things, freezing things because of that thing called fire. He's not going to understand. But now imagine that he's going to take the one things that he feels like don't match with fire, is that if you get your fire really, really strong, and you take some rocks, some very special kind of rocks, you can melt them and you can shape them in weapons, in the craziest kind of tools. And eventually that is going to help you create caves that you can stack on top of each other and create the largest tribes that you have ever seen. The indirectedness of the evolution of a groundbreaking technology like fire was, and the effects of that was unimaginable. Because now you're going to have to explain to him that the same technology is going to allow him to create these tiny little boxes. That inside of those tiny little boxes, there will be tiny little cavemen just like him that he can control with his hands. How can you explain a video game to a caveman that just found fire, but because of that fire, he's going to be able to create it to do that? Or that because of that and the consequences of that, people are going to eventually be able to see into our body, into everything, and discover pieces, tiny little pieces that have a life on their own. Or go to that crazy black thing that they see on the sky and fly there so far they cannot even be seen anymore. You can't explain that. Now, think about that. Now, you are that caveman. You are that guy that just realized that you put a stick into that flame and you bring it. That little piece of flame, you can control it, you can carry it, you can protect it, you can create more of it. You don't know the consequences of that yet. How can you imagine what you're going to do if there's so many, the potential of that is so big and has so many indirect consequences? It's literally impossible for the caveman, the exact same way that is impossible for us living the world that we live right now to truly understand the potential of what artificial intelligence can do for us. And I'm not the one saying it. I mean, all the academics, all the biggest names in technology are saying things like artificial intelligence is, as a technological leap for our society, is as important or more than electricity, than the invention of the wheel and the conquer of fire. It can allow us to take a step so big ahead that is on that level of importance, if not more. So how can we, living in the beginning of it, see how, imagine, and conflicts like fire creating ice creams, or fire leading to space travel, or fire leading to chocolate. Our minds are not going to be able to go there that easily. Maybe one of us can have a trip and land in one of those things, but visualizing the entire society is tricky. Is going to be way more difficult. And in the beginning of it, the transformation is going to cause some pain. It's going to be hard to deal with. And we have to understand how we're going to deal with that. Especially because in the short term, that's when the problems happen. The problems are here. There are problems in the very small and short terms, like fingers. AI, until now, AI cannot get their shit together when it comes to fingers. Explain to AI that a human hand has 5 fingers and they have like one of these positions that they don't bend. It's still impossible to understand, for it to understand. But it's getting better. It's getting there. But there are problems of bias, of plagiarism, of hallucinations. There's stolen styles. There are costs. There are data poisoning challenges. Are one of the most fascinating things that I've heard in a while. There are mob vandalism. There's stability problems with the images that we're creating. There are the protected words that don't let us explore some things, because if we let them go, people are going to create things that shouldn't be created. But banning words, it may be the equivalent of banning books. There's a problem with short-term memory it's kind of being fixed. And there are societal problems like mass unemployment that may get caused by this, or the problem with any energy consumption, because these are not very efficient brains. And maybe in slavery of the entire human race, that is a problem that the more neurotic and more forward-thinking ones are starting to consider. Is that a real problem or not? I don't know. I cannot judge, but that's something that a lot of people are discussing now. But those problems tend to be temporary. They are the transitional problems. There are lots of things that we can do to deal with that, and which lead us to the thing that Lisa was pointing. Everyone that I talked to on during the research was dealing with some level of anxiety themselves about, what do I do? Do I embrace it? I'm excited, but I'm afraid of it at the same time. And I realized that part of the excitement and the anxiety is that everyone seems to be at the same time want to do it, wants to embrace it, wants to do something with it, but is concerned about another aspect of it. And it's like, I don't know what to think. It's like, well, how about this? What if let's think about that as two levels of decision. One is that you can decide, you can clearly and honestly decide between surfing or running for the mountains. I grew up in Rio, and one thing that I learned about waves is that you don't hold it, right? Either get away or you get in. Either you're going to surf it or you get out of the shore so the wave doesn't hit you, because they're literally a force of nature. You cannot hold them with your bare hands. So if you make that decision between surfing or running for the mountains, you can make it, it's fine. But there are different aspects that you can separate, and that may help you deal with the anxiety if you separate them in 4 different levels, right? You have the decision to make as a person, as a company, as a market, and as a species, as a human being, right? You can decide, and those decisions may be conflicting. You may decide that as a person, I'm going to totally embrace it, and I'm going to use this opportunity to become a better professional and be more competitive into the next round. Or I may decide that, you know what, as a person, I would rather retire, because this is going to be too much. By the time that I'm going to start, and I'm like the beginner, someone that is beginning of this profession is going to be the same level than me. I'm too old for that. I don't want to do that. But my company, you know what? My company, I want the company to do it. So I'm going to prepare to retire, but my company, I'm going to equip it to do it. Those are separate discussions. You can do it. You can decide that from a personal level, you were super excited, but from a societal level, you're concerned. So the world, human race, let's run to the mountains together. But me as an individual, as a professional, I'm going to surf. And that's totally fine and helps you separate and deal with the anxiety a little bit more. Like, you can make conflicting decisions at this day and age, right? So that is a part of the conversation that we can have. But then I took like 4 lessons that if you decide to surf, there, especially on the creative field, but not only, there are 4 lessons that they're philosophical lessons that I think that can help look at things beyond what is the tool they can use now. It can give a broader sense, a longer perspective, I think, in a world that is changing so fast, is so fickle, right? The first lesson is that this is time to unfold ourselves. And I'm talking here, Henry Ford, Industrial Revolution. One of the biggest impacts that I'm seeing in all professions is that since the Industrial Revolution, we have learned that that we have to, if we want to be more efficient, we have to break big complex tasks into smaller sets where it can take specialists and put that in building in sequence and sometimes in tandem, so we can break it and we can all go much faster and much more efficient. In most fields that I talk to people from medicine to artistic to engineering, what I'm seeing is that there's a kind of backpedaling on that AI gives everyone gives you artificial skills that allows anyone with a specific vision on a bigger process to embrace the entire thing again. So I've talked to people that are like illustrators that are now doing animations. So instead of doing one thing that is reported, that doing like specific frames that will give to an animator, that will give to a director, they can direct their own things. I've seen people that are film directors that had the kind of an idea what they wanted to do for music on their films, and now they use AI to bring their vision together. They don't need to rely on a musician to create that. It's not that they cannot collaborate. Collaboration is over, but you don't have, that's not your only choice. If you can have John Williams do your soundtrack, yeah, great, go for John Williams. But if you can't, or if you have something very specific in your head, you can do it. So this unfordization of work is a major step that can allow us to think. Every time you see something, if like, how is that going to give me or my team or society or the groups a wider set of skills that we can break and rethink that structure?
Hey PJ, just check. I'd love to jump into that demo in about 3 minutes.
Okay. Lesson 2 is that this is a new kind of computing, that instead of being about code and instructions that computers are going to follow, it's based on instruction on teaching computers to learn and formulate their own ideas and build their own skills. So the metaphor for this is that you're going from riding a bike to riding a horse. A bike, you're the power, and the bike does exactly what you want. Going to a horse, it has way more power, but it's going to make some decisions by itself. It's a very important way to look at what computing and the interaction between computers and humans are going to do. Lesson 3, the skills that we are learning today are going to be fresh in a few months, if not, and maybe in a year or so. But that's fine. You can learn them because the learning is going to give you perspective, and perspective is something that is going to last. And the final lesson is that if you're not getting your hands dirty, you're being a follower. This is such if you're going back to the caveman, if you don't understand the power of fire in your hand, you cannot even start to think about what's going to happen from there. You have to create, you have to have an insider perspective to start to be able to imagine and build towards that future, even if it's only the first and the second degree from that. And then from there, you can right now, if you want to play, you can go espresso with it. Small servings, big flavor, and play and try. I've been doing that when I wrote my book. I used my book as that playground. I designed the cover. I did multiple trailers for it. Then I went to the agency and started to do trailers, little experiments with video, like turning Joker into knitting, for example. I'm not going to play the whole thing here, but look how crazy this is. I mean, that had no intention, no goal. No, I was just playing, but just playing with it gave us a lot of ideas, and we have work being done for clients now. We just posted a big campaign we did for Mini that uses AI that only happened because the team that was working on this is also working on Mini, so the idea started to happen. So playing helps because all mammals have been architected, the brain and the structure, our neural structure, and as mammals have been architected to learn through play. That's how we understand worlds that we don't know the rules. We understand gravity, for example. When you put the fork, the real fork, on an imaginary table and it falls on the ground, you understand. It falls. So there's thing that called gravity, and then you fall and hit your head on the floor and you cry and your mom comes. You understand gravity has consequences. We need to start playing is how mammals are organize their own brains to learn these things. All mammal species play because of that. So let me go forward.
Hey PJ, on that example of the creative, I mean, how long did that take to create?
Okay. Say that again.
How long did it take to create that? The little clown thing that you did.
That was like 2 days.
2 days. Okay.
Yeah, one day we discussed, we talked about how about we do this, and the next day we rendered it in the morning, we edited it in the afternoon, and it was done.
Wow.
It's really fast because we are organizing to like these espresso portions, as small but that's how we are doing when we do a lab. That's what we're thinking as well. How can we break into small things that we don't have to ask for permission? We don't have to have big groups considering and discussing. We just take something, put out in the world, and learn from that experience and move on. So on these Joker one, for example, when we just changed the images, we felt like, oh, there's something that we needed here. That's what we put that emoticon in the middle. I felt like, oh, so when we change the language, the visual language of something, sometimes you have to add something, you have to re-edit, you have to add another layer because you're making something cute and funny when it was just scary. Okay, and it gave us some perspective that the next one that we did, we're gonna have to re-edit, and we are evolving our deep insider perspective of how it feels or how does it work to have a creative task or a creative job in an AI world. I mean, I can speak just about that forever, but it's the essence of it is that you have to be doing it to understand. I had to give myself and my AI team there the task of every week we're going to do an experiment. Within our busy lives, every week we're going to publish something, no matter what. Sometimes, because the time is so short, we're going to pick ideas. We're going to be too ambitious. We're going to need to post something that is half-baked. And it's like, yeah, see, we didn't have time to do it. It didn't work. But that's also part of the experiment. And maybe 2 months later, we're going to go back to the same experiment. We're going to do it again. It's going to be much better.
Yes.
I can't wait. I can't wait any longer. PJ, you have to take us into Midjourney right now. We're running out of time. We're on a tight lunch hour. So for those of you that don't know, Midjourney is one of the most fascinating image creation tools out there. And if you don't know the power of it, we're going to show you the power of it today. Now, I know probably at least half of the people on have definitely know Midjourney, but PJ, can you take us and share screen and take us in? Do it. Show us Midjourney.
I'm not going to share the screen here because I only have Midjourney on my phone. But I think I shared with you the prompts, right? Let me talk about what those prompts are.
Yeah, sure. So everyone, let me. So everyone, I'm sharing. This is Midjourney's Discord. I put the link in chat. The last time, so Midjourney used to be free. I was able to create images for free. The last time I logged on, they required me to buy a subscription for $10. Because they were swamped with requests, but this is the tool. Now, PJ has created some prompts. So the way this works, everyone, if you're not familiar, you have to create a prompt. And in fact, I can just show you very quickly here some examples. Like, so there's a prompt and this is what it gives you within seconds, right? There's a prompt. This is what it delivers, right? So this is the idea. It will provide you 4 different versions based upon the prompt that you have entered into the system. So these are just a few that I've been working on. There's a great quick start guide here. If you're interested in playing with this, I highly recommend you check it out. It's going to help you. All right, so there's the tools. I'll throw this in, and I can't wait. PJ has created. Now I'm just, as I said, a newbie at this. I play with it, but I know that I am not at all harnessing the true power of this tool in a way that I want to be. So PJ, I have your prompts here. I copy them. So do you want to do that first one? The first one.
Let's do the first one, and then people can play with the other ones after. So
okay.
Midjourney is a great way to see the evolution, because every month or so they post a different version. It gets better. It gets more complex and more interesting as well. So it's right now it's doing things that my art directors cannot do by themselves for the first time, or they can look at that. I don't know if it was made by a high-end director or a photographer or an illustrator, or if it was done by AI. Finally reach for the last 2 months. It's like, yeah, it's not as good. So I'm going to stay working with the real people. Now you reach a level that it's up to par. So let's take and a lot of the way to learn it is to steal people's prompt and then try to change something. So let's do one. Let's take the first one. An isometric diorama of a cabin in the woods from the movie Misery. And
wow,
that's
look at that's like, crazy. That is crazy. That is so crazy.
The isometric diorama creates these little square things, and you start to learn these little tricks.
Oh my God.
Let's change one little thing here. So what
is this for real? But so here's the output, everybody. We've got, these are the 4 images that it just created. I mean, it's insane, right? Like, are these for real? Is this like really the deal? This is really the set for Misery? Because that's crazy.
Take the upscale of number 2, for example.
Yeah. So upscale means it's going to make a bigger version, means it's going to slightly tweak it and create new versions. I'll upscale 2 per my tutor's request here. And then it puts in another request. And what you're seeing here, for those that are unfamiliar, are all the other images in this chat that other people are working on, which again, I could stay, oh my God, look at that.
Amazing.
I could stay and look at this for hours and hours and hours. This is gorgeous. I mean,
and to see the detail of the prompts, I mean, it's incredible.
I know. I mean, that's just stunning. All right. So it's doing the job here.
Yeah. So that's our upscale. So what is the change that I suggested for that one?
You suggested, and I'll post it in chat.
Now replace Misery with Snow White. Yeah, just go there.
Yes.
So that is that's when it gets cool, and you can the stealing thing is the cool opportunity. Take the same prompt, the isometric diorama of a cabin in the woods from Snow White, and then you play it and you put it there.
Love that. Let's do that. Oops, if I can spell. Nothing more fun.
So what's the strangest thing you've gotten, PJ, in your playing with this thing? Is there been anything that's just been so bizarre?
Yeah, I've tried something that I was trying for a cover of my book that I wanted to. I tried, and it was so complex and esoteric that that Midjourney couldn't understand how to craft it. But what it gave me was a piece of art. It was almost esoteric and emotional interpretation of that I took it and I printed. This is way too beautiful to waste. It wasn't literally what I asked, but it was in a very emotional way. That's when I felt like, oh, this is like what creativity is like. The computer tried a bunch of things. It didn't know how to do it. It tried, and then I looked at it. Oh, this is actually works. This is artificial creativity happening right in front of my eyes. We tend to be. I always believed that creativity was going to be the last thing that computers are going to take over, and it's actually one of the first, because creativity takes the principle of having a bunch of ideas without questioning them, and then you pick the ones that work. Guess what? Computers are much better at having ideas without and not being very worried about what people are going to think about them. So they try. Computers try. So
I just put the next prompt in chat, everybody, those that are playing along. A silver pen over black velvet in the style of Apple and Louis Vuitton, hyper-realistic, minimalistic, professional light, -AR 9.16. I have no idea what that means. PJ, can you tell me what that means?
The AR it's kind of a good trick. Is the -AR is just a proportion of the screen. So it's 9:16 is like a phone like this. 16:9 is more cinematic. You can put 3:4.
Aspect ratio.
Yeah, aspect ratio. Yeah.
Okay, got it. AR stands for aspect ratio. Helpful.
Thank you.
Another magic one is --tile. Especially if you're creating vectors, it'll create a seamless tile. And we've been able to create crazy things.
Look at that. Look how beautiful that is.
Ooh, so for texture creation.
Yeah. So we've been using them in 3D models and other places where we can drop in. So we did the War Room recently, where we did a shag carpet from like the 70s that was just this tiled texture out of Midjourney.
Wow.
Can you go to the Snow White real quick? I just want to see it.
Yes. Snow White is right here.
I did aliens and put it in the chat.
What is that?
I did the movie Aliens, the same thing with but cabin in the woods from the movie Aliens.
Yeah.
So it's got some interesting detail.
It's crazy because we assume that the computer is not going to understand the nuance of what we think, but the nuances out there in the world, and the way that these things are connected conceptually goes way further than we think, and we'll guess some of the things that we're imagining, and we'll include some other things that we are not. So that's why sometimes just putting the reference of a kind of a director or photographer, illustrator, especially if you mix them, is great. There's one thing that I put there is like a John Hopper with let me see.
Stranger Things.
No, there's the train, the Chattanooga train. What is the prompt to the Chattanooga train? Kind of a cool prompt.
So this is waiting to start. So, so depending on how busy it is, you guys, it kind of takes, sometimes it can take longer. Questions, let's open it up. For those of you that haven't played with Midjourney, I know we've got a lot of techies on here that have, but I know we've got some of you on here that probably haven't. We've got 8 minutes. I would love to hear your thoughts, questions, share, please.
Yeah. Tell me about owning, as far as usage rights. If I create an image here, can I use it in marketing? Can I use it anywhere?
You can, but others can too, unless you change it. If you change it, then that changed version is yours. If you're paying, if you're using the paid version, you can use it.
All right, I have a question about this because I've been using Runway Infinite. They have all these magic tools which are similar. Midjourney, I'm playing with a little bit. Is it constantly growing its library by which it's curating samples to put out these outputs? In other words, if you put the same prompt in, are we both going to get the same exact example, or is it time, or like will it change over time? Because in some of the other engines, in some of the other engines, I've never been able to recreate exactly the prompt because I think the library is constantly, when you don't accept one of the 4 options, you'll never see them again. You can try.
It's not only that the library is changing, is that the process is what they call diffusion. Is that the way it goes, it puts noise on the screen, and all right, let me get this noise closer to the Snow White cabin, and then I'll do that. Do one step, and then another step, and then another step. But it starts with something random, so it never gets to the same thing twice. If you get very specific, it gets close enough. But once they really put a new version of Midjourney, for example, it gets completely different. If you try Runway is way more, you get the same, it's way closer, one version for the other, but it's anything that uses the diffusion model will be hard to get to the same thing twice.
Wow.
Which is a problem. Is one of their features and one of their challenges as well. If you're
here we go.
Like, for example, try to get a storyboard for a movie. There's one character that you need continuity. It's like a pain in the ass. It's really complicated.
You have to take it into Stable Diffusion and really start to process things. And in fact, when you get into the really crazy ones where Midjourney or these others just kind of lose their mind, we literally have created heat maps, build 3D models to reproduce. For this one we had to do for a client, we were putting a person inside a pinball machine, and it just did not, like, we got garbage, and we finally fed it, blended it, and did a bunch of things to where we finally got a little bit like. But I have some of the most ridiculous, like, half human being, half pinball stuff that it's insane.
That's amazing.
That's the thing with the horse thing they were saying, is the horse may decide to stop under the shadow, the shade, and rest, and you're not strong enough to move it. Like, the beast is going to stay there until the beast decides to go.
Yeah, we had to do the allegory of the scorpion and the frog the other day, and so I tried that. Oh my God, try that in Midjourney. Try to get a scorpion on the back of a frog going across a river. It's insane. It's just, yeah. Not enough detail.
Understanding better and better. The V5 of Midjourney is way more intelligent on how he understands the prompts than V4.
How fast are the versions coming out?
It's just a few months apart. I mean, I think that Midjourney was launched December last year?
Wow.
December, January is not that much. We are already V5. So it's
wow.
It's fast. It's by the time they feel like it changes, and you can use some things and some things that didn't work start to work. So that's why I say the skills, you're likely going to throw it away.
Look at this. This is so cool.
That's
Holy
pretty amazing.
cow. Yeah. Studio portrait of a fierce 11-year-old Morgan Freeman, oversized Batman mask, mysterious noir, cinematic, highly textured, darkness, black and white eyeliner, hyper-realistic eyes, pensive, unsure, aspect ratio 3.4. Wow. Oh my God, that's cool. See, I mean, it blows my mind when it creates organic things like faces. It just blows my mind.
Yes.
It really understands emotion. I mean, sorry, it doesn't understand emotion, but it can reproduce emotions. If you can't articulate that with words, I mean, it's like I was talking to like a friend that is a massive celebrity designer, and she was like, "I'm so glad that I did art, that I majored in art history, because now it's like I feel like now is my time."
Right, exactly.
I have so much vocabulary to tell these things that I can do things that no one can.
Wow. Yes,
that's
that
amazing.
Makes total sense. That makes total sense.
Yeah,
and why education should not be scared of this tool.
It's kind of a sad reflection that we're all just a pattern. Humans are all humans, man. It's kind of happy too, though. It's like, hey, we're all in this together. We're all kind of falling into the same type of stuff. Like, creates empathy too, right? Which is kind of cool.
Yes, I agree, Ricky.
And to alleviate a little bit more fear, right? Between Midjourney 4 and 5, the language difference is huge. You used to kind of do this Google keywords stuffy type of thing. Now you actually like tell a really compelling narrative, right? You lay out, and the language is very much, and that's the direction everything seems to be headed in. So
having some knowledge of camera positioning, and you know, if you can do some photographic descriptions like extreme close-up and even like lens types and f-stops and stuff like that, you'll get it. Yeah, you can really start to fine-tune it.
Yeah, knowing how to describe things and becoming people talk about prompt engineering. I think that that's actually a silly idea, but culture and ways and knowing how to describe things is actually a big skill. Knowing how to write, knowing how to explain something is a skill that is going to be, because prompt engineering is something that is like in a few months or years is going to be out, like the computers are going to understand whatever it's telling. But being able to articulate your thoughts, articulate your vision is a big skill.
Absolutely.
Have you experimented with ChatGPT doing prompts?
Thanks, Victor, for the question. I just before people have to start dropping, and I'll let you ask that question. I can stay over a little bit. I want to be mindful of everyone else's time. Thank you so much, all of you that are here. Kelly Wade, Kelly's here. Kelly Wade is here. So excited to have you here, Kelly, and everyone. Matt. Hi. So thank you all for joining. Hopefully I'll see you next month, right before AWE. Next Friday at noon, we'll have an amazing tour crawl for you, and love it. Thanks again. We're so grateful. And if you have any feedback on topics or how we can make this better, or how we can make it more valuable, please share with myself. I'm always trying to evolve and make things more valuable for you. So, all right.
TJ, it's been amazing having you. And really just the advice of play and have fun. I mean, really, we all need to take that to heart.
Yeah. So Victor,
if anyone here wants to reach out to get my email from Lisa and Billy, I'm here.
Thank you. And Victor, go ahead and ask your question, please. We have time. I can stay. We have time for a question.
Just was curious if the prompt engineering is a great topic, because that's actually one of the big hurdles, just to even to play to its fullest capability. Has ChatGPT or similar engines been used to generate prompts to then do the mid-journeys and the runways to activate their engines?
So there's a comedy experiment where we trained an AI that tinfoil hats were conspiracy, and then we fed the ChatGPT into Midjourney. Then we described the Midjourney back to ChatGPT, and then framed the ChatGPT and other other local trained models to then give a comedy. Anyways, it's madness. So yeah, I think that how we cut, what are we mixing the peanut butter and chocolate, and like PJ said, how we're playing in this space is we're gonna see
there's a new function on Midjourney. I don't know if you have seen it. That is the same way you have to get an image, you put /imagine prompt and you write. You can also, if you upload an image anywhere on the web and copy the URL, you can go /describe and put the URL, and it will write the prompt for that, which is a good way for you to like, oh, I want something like this, but with the horse instead of a cat. All right, so go there, take the photo, upload, and then you go switch the horse for the cat, or the cat with the horse, whatever, and then you're gonna get the variation of that. I mean, that's a temporary solution. It's soon enough you're gonna feel like, I want that image, but with the horse. Instead, it was gonna get that, or just mark the horse. Like Adobe is about to launch this, it's kind of promising already. Take a photo, so take these horse here, you give me a cat instead. Then it just immediately replaces it. So it's going to get easier and easier. So all those skills are just bridge skills until the future is finally stable. But it's worth understanding, because that's what I'm saying. You have to understand it from the inside, and you understand, oh, that's how AI thinks, is by these associations and understanding and getting better at comprehending a request, but you have to be able to describe them. So understanding our relationship with this new kind of computing is the skill of the next 1,000 years.
Is anyone struggling to see the use cases for this? And I'll just throw out one. So a really good example of a use case from my perspective, I have my 452 students, seniors in the communication school do a blog every term where they have to do 12 blog posts, and one of the requirements is a featured image, and they always struggle with where in the hell are they going to find a featured image. And I will add, there are companies literally out there, companies that will go and are paid to search university blogs for licensed images so they can sue the university. This is for real. So it's like I have to warn them every time, like, you guys can't use licensed images of bands and all the fun sexy shit. You've got to use boring shit. And so now, like, all of them could use this tool to create 12 really cool, interesting, different images, feature images for the blog, completely relevant, typing in words, and it's there now, right? So that's just an example of an amazing use case for this.
Friend of ours, teacher, had just same thing, licensing of a book. She'd use these basically just vector, like ridiculous, that they were going to try to sue her over this kind of stuff. And she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I got to deliver this book as part of my education, right? And I said, here, check out Dolly, because most of this stuff is free and for what you want. And I was like, I'll help you with anything you need. She hasn't called me back. With Dolly alone, she's figured out how to solve her licensing issue.
Yeah, wow. It's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, the images of all the images I use in my blog are created like that now, because it allows it to get so much richer. But again,
so much richer.
Having the vocabulary really helps. Like, I want this, a mix of pasta and okay. It will give me something special,
Let's go create that. Let's go create the prompt engineering workshop for enterprise marketers. Let's go create that and make $1 million. How about that? Let's do some biz dev. Because I'll tell you, like, if you're not leveraging this technology, you should, you absolutely should. I mean, I'll say this: if you're still using stock images, you're really missing the boat here. Like, why would you ever still use stock images for anything?
100%.
They're horrible. I hate them. I've always hated them. The last 10 years, I've hated them.
Well, I'm a believer. I really think this is the future. Really, I'm excited.
Soon video is going to be the same thing. Video is getting very close. It doesn't look that great yet, but it's very impressive already.
Absolutely. I was in a tool, lately.ai is one that I've been playing around with. I don't know if you all know Lately, but it will take video and break it into snackable bites and creates complete social shorts. I remember, Billy, we used to pay the agency to make those digital shorts for us, like 5,000, 6,000 a pop.
Yes.
Now you just get a tool like lately.ai, you throw the video in, they'll make you 10 different cut downs. I mean, come on, right? It's amazing.
I think I just saw
something similar.
Yeah, I think I just saw a video of that yesterday of this somebody, I think they were in After Effects or in one of the Adobe suites.
Premiere.
And it was just going through. It was just like cutting. Oh my God.
The latest version
just
of Premiere, yeah, if we've got that and Firefly. So Premiere has a native AI that you can talk to now in what's coming. And in Photoshop, there's the same way. We have it for Unity and Unreal, which makes me super happy because basically I've got ChatGPT and a code helper directly in Engine.
Have you been using that? I was going to ask if anyone's used the ChatGPT plugin to Unity or Unreal, because I've seen videos of it, but I don't know anyone personally who's actively doing that. Is it pretty buggy, or is it still is it working pretty good for you?
It's really pretty decent. And what I've seen, I've got OpenAI dev access, so I have a tendency to go back in because I can kind of swap out engines and do a bunch of anyways. But yeah, it's cool. It's really nice to not have to leave the tool itself, just to be, especially to do something quick in C# or some BS that you got to, this has got to spin the other way or whatever.
I think the big thing that these like prompt-based AI tools comes down to, like, I loved some of the things PJ was talking about on like the communication. Like, it's kind of an epiphany moment for me on like how I'm thinking about these tools is like, as someone who's not very technical, I'm not a developer, I don't code, right? Like, it's literally just making it easier for you to talk to a computer with less clicks and without learning something really technical. Like, you can just speak your own words, ask for what you want, and then get the computer to go deliver on that.
Which is, that's one of the things that fascinates me with this Roadblocks when you think about integrating and some of the bugs around integrating. And this article that Roadblocks, the person developing these tools, she said that the reason that they're building them themselves is because it has to understand their building block technology in order to really make it a plug and play asset for Roadblocks. And so they're taking care of all that hard work of integrating it to really make it so that you can say the thing and it'll create it in a way that then you could absolutely deploy on Roadblocks, which is so smart. So smart, and I'm really excited to see where they take it and how they use it and how others start using it. It's like I need to get in there. I have like a laundry list of shit that I need to do. It's like my XR laundry list. Like, okay, buy a avatar, a Gucci avatar on spatial, and then like I have a whole list of all the things that I need to do to test this all out. Like someday I'll do it when I'm not crazy busy. But it's been such a pleasure. Well, I'm gonna let everyone go. I think this has been awesome. PJ, thank you so much for your time and expertise. What fun to play with you. And me and Billy have to meet up again soon in the real world. I'd love to see you. And everyone, thanks for being here. And if you have any questions, let me know. This has been streamed and there's a recording and we'll share it out. So thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, nice to
Good job.
Enjoy your vacation.
Thanks. Bye. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Great to have everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye, Spencer.
Yeah.
I'm looking for
good
the
to
off
see you,
button like an
Spencer.
old guy. Yeah, good to see you too. All right, where the hell is the off button? Oh, it's hidden behind the chat button. Okay,
There
bye,
we
guys.
go.
Bye.
And Koa's still with us too. I'm
be.
impressed. Koa, how are you?
He's AFK.
Maybe. Well, that was fun.
Yes.
PJ is so inspirational. He has such a great way of thinking about things.
Oh, hold on.